Hi everyone, David Hayward here. Everybody, Lasting Supper. This is just for you guys. Today I want to talk about the 5 stages of grief. Maybe you read Kubler-Ross's pivotal book in which she studied the progress of people who were dying, and the 5 stages of grief and death and dying that she came up with was the first one. So what I'm comparing this to actually the grief we go through when we lose our faith, or we lose some of our beliefs, or we lose our ideas of what we thought God was or who we thought God was. So I'm going to compare this death and dying and grieving to actually deconstructing. Okay, so five stages. And the first one is denial. Now we're gonna see. It's interesting because on the Lasting Supper, what's really cool about the Lasting Supper is we're not all on one page. We're on many pages. Actually, 5 pages, and so it's really cool to see all this variety of people on the Lasting Supper. And maybe this will help you see where you are. And, you know, it's not saying that you're always in one place. You could be in several places at once, or you could be spiraling around the different stages or whatever. Or you could be in 2 at the same time. It really doesn't matter. But usually, this is generally speaking, usually the first stage of losing something or going through grief or accepting that you're going to die. Let's say you go to the doctor, or you go to the theological doctor, and the doctor says, "I'm sorry, Judy, but you have doubt, and you've only got so long to believe." Something like that. And so the first, it's just like saying, "Judy, you've got cancer, you've only got so long to live." And we have the same sort of spiritual, emotional reaction to this as somebody who's just gotten news that they've got a life-threatening disease or illness. And the first one's always denial. No, it's impossible. It can't be. This can't be true. I don't believe it. I'm going to go for a second opinion. All this kind of thing. And this is what happens when people start to deconstruct, too, with their faith. They just can't believe it. When somebody says, "You know what, it sounds like you're doubting." No, that's impossible. I can't doubt. I've believed. I've been a strong believer my whole life. You know, God has been so real to me. The Holy Spirit's been so close to me and intimate. Jesus is my best friend. You know, this can't happen. This doubt, it's impossible. I don't believe it. And we just go through this period of denial where we just can't believe it's happening to us. You know, and we just are so in shock, actually, that we just deny it. And we you know, I've been there. Maybe you're there. We see other people there where they're just, you know, "I'm still a believer, la 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 la, and I still believe, and I'm doing this." But we can see between the lines that they've received a report somewhere along the line from somebody else or from their own selves that, you know, you've got some doubt in there, and you need some major surgery, and there's no guarantee you're going to survive this. So in the same way, you know, many of us have gone through, or maybe we're going through, or you will go through this period of denial. And the next one is, I'm going to use red for this one. You know what it stands for? Anger. That's right, anger. Anger is where you are just, you know, how can this happen to me? I can't believe this is happening to me. I've been such a strong believer. I've read books. I've prayed. I've studied my Bible. I know this stuff, and yet, you know, you've contracted the disease of deconstruction, and you know, you've only got so long, and you're so angry, you know, you just can't believe that this has happened to you, and it just affects you in all different kinds of ways. You know, you just are explosive. You're angry at God for letting this happen, or you're angry at Satan for tempting you so much, or you're angry at your church, or you're angry at your spouse, or you're angry just at yourself, that you let yourself go, and that you lost your faith, and how could this happen? And it's just, you know, anger is just a typical phase, and something you need to go through. It's not something you can skip, and it's not something you can beautify and put makeup on. It's anger, plain and simple. And then the third one, maybe you know this. What color will I use? Blue. Bargaining. Bargaining is where, let's say you've received a diagnosis that you've got cancer, and bargaining is where you say, oh, I'll quit smoking now. I promise, dear God, I'll quit smoking now. I'll never smoke again, and I'll give half of my money to the poor. I'll do whatever I can. So in the same way, when we're deconstructing in our faith, we go through the same kind of a bargaining thing where we say, maybe God, if you stay close to me, and if I could just keep the good parts, I'll let the bad parts go. Okay, I don't believe in hell anymore. Okay, fine, I'll let that one go. I believe that somehow everybody's saved. Somehow, I'll embrace that. Just don't go, God. But just don't let me become an atheist. I've heard that many times. I've even said that myself. I'll do anything, God. Just don't let me become an atheist. I'll even be an agnostic, please. All this kind of bargaining going on where you try to mix and match. You go for second opinions. You go to different authors and different theologians, maybe different churches. You're just trying to figure out a way to keep your shit together and stay alive spiritually. So denial, anger, bargaining. And then, which one shall I use for this one? The next one is depression. That's right. Well, maybe I should have done that in blue. Depression. Depression is where you finally realize that all living in denial isn't working, your anger isn't working, and your bargaining isn't working, and you just get depressed. It's where you finally realize, fuck, I've lost my faith. Or, I no longer, I just don't know if God's there anymore. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the Holy Spirit's real, or I'm not sure if Jesus was even a real man, and you get all depressed and you don't know all these years of study and all these years of prayer, all these years of Bible and all these years of theology in church, all goes down the toilet. It's all been wasted and it means nothing anymore because you don't know what to believe and you lose everything and it's all gone to pot and you're just depressed. There's nothing, you realize that there's no point in fighting anymore. That you've lost all these, that you're no longer sure, and you just fall into this depression because the inevitable is going to happen. You can see it on the horizon. You can see it on the horizon. It's staring you in the face. That it's a very good chance you're going to lose your faith, or your faith is going to go through a dramatic change, and you're not even going to be recognizable anymore. I'm not even talking about your relationship with all your other spiritual and religious friends. That's another thing altogether. And then finally, the last stage, if I had black, I would use it. No, that's not true. Maybe black for depression. 5 is acceptance. And acceptance is the final stage, and this is where it's inexplicable. But I've seen it as a pastor. I've visited many people who are dying, and many of them have reached this stage of acceptance, and this peace comes over them, and it's like they've accepted that they're dying. They've given up fighting. They're no longer in denial. They're no longer angry. They're no longer bargaining. They're no longer depressed. There's just this peace about them. They've accepted that they're dying, and they're actually very deep and patient and gracious and loving, compassionate. Actually, many people I've visited who were dying, I got to make sure I speak up so you can hear me. Many people I visited who were dying actually felt more sorry for me by the end of it. They're like, it's okay, don't, especially people I've really loved and cared for. I'm going to be okay, you're going to be okay, everything's fine, they're comforting me. Well, they're the ones who are dying. You know what I'm talking about, people? And so it's just acceptance, this place of peace. So you're going to find people all over the map. And with acceptance, with deconstruction, it's very interesting because it's a very peaceful place, but it's no less confusing. Okay? So these are the stages: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Now, we're going to see these all on the Lasting Supper. And we somehow have to learn to live together and fellowship together and communicate and dialogue and whatever. So let's look at noise level. Let's look at noise level, okay? I thought about this the other day. Who are the noisiest during these stages? Who do you think are the noisiest? Well, I think the angry people are the noisiest, right? They're angry, or maybe if there was a graph, I think it's sort of like this, where you've got denial, then you've got anger, then you've got bargaining, then you've got depression. Depression is the quietest, and then you've got acceptance, where it's somewhere in the middle. Okay? But depression is the quietest, anger and bargaining is the loudest. These are up here is the loudest. These are the people that are really saying, no, I'm a believer, you know, I just want to encourage you, and this and that. They're trying to help everybody, and, you know, do this, do that, and I love Jesus, and I love Christmas, and I love Easter, and I believe in the resurrection, and you should too, and blah, 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 all this, right? And then the angry people are just like, they're belting it out there. They're so angry, they just can't keep their mouths shut because they've got something to say. They've been betrayed, they've been misled, they've been taught false things, they've embraced, they feel silly because of the things they believed, you know, on and on and on. They're very angry. And then bargaining people are like, hey, you know, I've read this, I've read that, I'm Buddhist and this and that, and they're trying to mix it all in. They've gone for second opinions and third opinions and fourth opinions, and they're just figuring out ways to still stay alive spiritually, you know, and working out all kinds of deals with all kinds of religions and all kinds of philosophies, and just trying to stay alive, you know, spiritually, which is totally understandable. And then you've got the depressed people who they hardly ever speak. Once in a while, if they're courageous or really brave, they'll get on there saying, I'm not doing so well right now. I'm having suicidal thoughts, or, you know, I'm in complete darkness here. You know, but very seldom. Most of the time, these people are very, very quiet. Very quiet. And then you've got people who have reached the level of acceptance. And you know what? I don't know very many people who are at this level. Now, there's a difference between acceptance and opting out altogether. There's some people who are like, as soon as they receive the diagnosis that they have doubt or are deconstructing, they just cop out and they just walk away and leave it all behind and just forget about it. And then, you know, I've actually seen people like this when they've received a cancer diagnosis, and they just like, oh, fuck that. Don't talk to me, and they just live their lives, and then suddenly they're dead. And nobody around them has had a chance to process, and they haven't processed themselves. People do that spiritually too. It's like as soon as they feel they're doubting, they just walk away, they opt out, don't want to talk about it. I've left the faith, the whole thing's bullshit. And they just walk away. That's not the same as acceptance. Okay, acceptance is where you work through all this stuff, and you come to a place where, well, here, where you just accept. Okay, you just accept. Hey, I no longer believe the same things. The things I used to believe, I hold on very lightly. Some things I hold very lightly. Some things I reject. Some things I don't. You know, you're just in a place of acceptance, but you're totally at peace. With denial, you still hope you've got the answer. With anger, you're angry because the answer doesn't seem to be working. Bargaining is when you're looking everywhere else for the answer because it's not in the place you thought it was. Depression is when you finally give up and realize you're not going to get the answer. Okay? And then acceptance is where, and this is a hard one, acceptance is where you come to conclude there really is no answer. And you're at peace with that. You're at peace with the fact that there is no answer. And it's totally cool. It's totally fine. Life is a mystery, and we're just afloat in this huge sea of mystery. Now, on TLS, how do we treat one another? How do we treat one another when we're in these stages? Do we say to the denial person, hey, get over it, you know, it's all this belief is bullshit, that's all phooey, it's all nonsense, I don't believe that baloney, you know, anymore. Just get over it? Do we tell them that? Or do we tell angry people to cheer up, you know, to stop being so angry, you're upsetting people, and it's not, you know, don't let the sun go down on your wrath, and it's not very spiritual to be angry, and I can't believe you used the word fuck, and, you know, all this kind of stuff. Or when people are bargaining, do we say, oh, what are you going everywhere else looking for the answer for in other opinions? The fact is you've got doubt, you're going to die. No, we don't do that either. Depression, do we tell them to cheer up, get over it? You know, don't be so down in the mouth. Life's great and okay, just look on the brighter side of life, you know, kind of Mr. Rogers attitude. No, you don't do that. And acceptance, you tell these people to come on, get real, get a life. There is truth, you know, there is objective truth. Why are you giving up? Blah, 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 all this kind of thing. No, you don't do that. You let people stay where you let people not stay. You let people go through these stages. You graciously, maybe because you've been there, or because you're learning this today, you know that these are necessary stages. You let people be where they're at. Because studies show, if people are allowed to process in this stage, they will move on to the next one. Okay? People aren't going to stay in denial unless they have support around them helping them keep them there. Okay? So, if somebody's in denial and they keep pushing that denial thing, and you're just there listening, you're not fortifying their denial, but you're just listening to them and, you know, offering your own perspective once in a while when they ask for it, but you don't push them to the next level. You never push them. You need to let them go through all of these stages. Do I tell people to hurry up and get over their anger? No, you never do that. You tell people to hurry up and stop being depressed? No, you don't. And some of these stages, when people are deconstructing, it depends. Sometimes it depends how long they've been in it. Sometimes it depends how deep they were in it. Sometimes it depends on the community that's around them, you know, supporting them or not supporting them. All kinds of factors. Some people can go through these stages very quickly, and some can take years to go through these stages. But in I see all kinds of people on the Lasting Supper from every one of these stages. And their volume level is reflected in the stage they're in. And what I really love about people who've come to acceptance is that even though they're quiet, when their opinion's asked, they respond very graciously, or they're very understanding of people who are in these levels. Very gracious and very understanding and very patient and very supportive. And so that's my hope is the Lasting Supper. I don't want the Lasting Supper just to be full of people in denial, or just full of people who are angry, or just full of people who are bargaining, or full of people who are depressed. God help us, right? We want it to be full of all these people, including people who've reached this level of acceptance that there really is no answer, but that's cool. And it's very peaceful and a compassionate place to be. And I'm here to help you if you want. I'm not going to force anything on you. I'm not going to preach. I'm not going to try to change you, but I'm here and I'm listening if you want. So I hope this has been helpful. Just give an overview of what the Lasting Supper is like and the kind of personalities that are there and the kind of stages that we're going through. Everybody's in a different spot. You know, we might be here right now, but we might be there tomorrow, and then we might suddenly jump into acceptance. Who knows? I feel I came to a level of acceptance a few years ago when I had a dream. I just woke up one day and suddenly that peace was on me, and it was very peaceful. That doesn't mean I don't go through these other stages again when another hole in the floor appears and I fall through it. You know, so these happen all the time where we go through these stages. And so I just want to encourage you guys on the Lasting Supper, be patient with each other, listen to each other, be supportive of each other. We're a vast variety of diverse people going through all kinds of stages. And I'm finished, and there's my phone. I'll see you on the Lasting Supper, all you deconstructionists. Bye for now.